The world is facing an environmental crisis as the presence of microplastics has become a major source of concern. These tiny particles, often too small to see with the naked eye, are found in our oceans, lakes, rivers, and even in the air we breathe. In this investigative documentary, we delve deep into the hidden dangers of microplastics and how they affect our health and the health of the environment. With the help of experts in various fields, we explore the sources of microplastics and the ways they enter our water systems and food chains, ultimately impacting our health in ways we may not even realize. We also examine the difficulties that come with studying microplastics and the lack of regulation regarding plastic production and disposal. This is a wake-up call for everyone who cares about the health of our planet. We must take action to reduce plastic waste and find more sustainable solutions before it's too late. Join us on this journey as we investigate the dangers of microplastics and what we can do to protect ourselves and the environment. Microplastics are tiny pieces of plastic, less than 5 millimeters in size, that pose a hidden danger to our environment and health. According to a report by the United Nations, there are estimated to be over 51 trillion microplastic particles in our oceans alone, with the number continuing to rise. These minuscule plastic particles are not only polluting our oceans, but also infiltrating our waterways, soil, and even the air we breathe. The impact of microplastics on the environment is alarming. Marine life, from plankton to whales, are ingesting microplastics, mistaking them for food, leading to gut blockages and suffocation. A recent study revealed that over half of seabirds worldwide had ingested microplastics, leading to a disturbing decline in their population. Not only does this impact the marine ecosystem but also threatens human food supply chains, as plastic is making its way into the food we eat through the fish we consume. Furthermore, the toxic chemicals that are present in plastic, such as bisphenol A, BPA, phthalates, and polycarbonate, are leaching into the environment, contaminating it further. These chemicals can contribute to numerous health problems, including hormone disruption, cancer, and birth defects, as well as reduced fertility and immunosuppression. A study by the World Health Organization found that up to 90% of bottled water contains microplastics, posing a risk to those who consume it. The problem is not just confined to oceans and marine life. Microplastics are also found in the air we breathe and the soil we grow our crops in. According to a report by the University of Newcastle, the average person ingests 5 grams of plastic every week, the equivalent weight of a credit card. This means that microplastics are literally on our plates as we consume food and drink that has come into contact with plastic during processing, packaging, and even cooking. Microplastics pose a global threat, and action must be taken to reduce and eliminate them. Governments should take accountability and implement regulations that mandate manufacturers to produce biodegradable plastics. Consumers can also play their part by reducing their plastic consumption and opting for eco-friendly alternatives like canvas bags, reusable bottles, and straws. The media can also elevate this issue by creating awareness and educating the public. In conclusion, microplastics pose a grave threat to our environment and health. Their presence is ubiquitous, infiltrating our water, soil, air, and food. The staggering statistics showing the extent of their infiltration serve as a clarion call for immediate action from individuals, corporations, and governments to curb this scourge. Failure to do so will have serious repercussions on our ecosystem and health for generations to come. In conclusion, the issue of microplastics is a complex one that requires a multifaceted approach to tackle. From personal lifestyle changes to industry-wide initiatives, we all have a role to play in minimizing the damage caused by microplastics. While it may seem like a daunting task, there's hope. Countries around the world have already taken action, with bans or restrictions on single-use plastics and microbeds in cosmetics. Research into the health effects of microplastics is ongoing, but there is enough evidence to suggest that we need to act now to prevent long-term damage. It is essential that we continue to research the sources and impacts of microplastics and educate ourselves and others on this issue. By working together, we can make a difference and ensure a cleaner, healthier planet for generations to come. Let us all make a conscious effort.
Every day, we use products made of plastic. From the moment we wake up to when we go to sleep, We are surrounded by it. Plastic has infiltrated our homes, our workplaces, and our environment. However, our convenience comes at a severe cost: plastic pollution. In particular, the contamination of our freshwater ecosystems has become a pressing issue around the world. Rivers, lakes, and streams are full of plastic waste, and the consequences of this are serious. Small animals are ingesting microplastics, which can cause gut blockages, damage to organs, and even death. As these animals are eaten by predators, the plastic moves up the food chain, affecting larger animals and, ultimately, humans. Furthermore, plastic waste can alter the physical and chemical environment of freshwater ecosystems, diminishing water quality, harming biodiversity and threatening human health. The problem is escalating, and we must act now. We need to understand the risks and consequences of plastic contamination and take precautions to end it. It is time for us to reduce our dependence on plastic products, recycle and dispose of plastic responsibly, support conservation efforts, and encourage policy changes to protect our freshwater ecosystems. Plastic contamination is a growing concern in freshwater ecosystems around the world. According to the World Wildlife Fund, there are over 5 trillion pieces of plastic debris in the world's oceans, with up to 12.7 million tons added each year. However, it's not just the oceans that are affected. In a report by the University of California, Davis, it was found that plastic pollution is also a major problem in freshwater ecosystems. In fact, approximately 80% of the plastic in oceans comes from rivers, which carry the plastic debris from land to sea. The risks and consequences of plastic pollution in freshwater ecosystems are numerous. One of the most significant risks is the harm it causes to wildlife. Fish, birds, and other aquatic animals may mistake the plastic debris for food, which can lead to starvation or a false sense of fullness, making them more susceptible to predators. In addition, the chemicals in plastic can also be toxic to animals, causing developmental problems, reproductive issues, and even death. The impact on the economy is another significant consequence of plastic pollution in freshwater ecosystems. According to a report by the United Nations, the global economic damage caused by plastic pollution in oceans is estimated to be $13 billion per year. This includes losses to fishing and tourism industries, as well as the cost of cleaning up the plastic debris. Similar damage can be expected to freshwater ecosystems, as river-based tourism and fishing industries are affected. There is also a concern for human health. The chemicals in plastic leach into the water, affecting its quality and making it unsafe to drink or use for agricultural purposes. According to the World Health Organization, approximately 1.8 billion people worldwide rely on water sources that are contaminated with fecal matter, and plastic pollution exacerbates the problem. When plastic pollutants enter the food chain, they can end up on our dinner plates, which exposes us to toxic chemicals and disrupts our endocrine systems. The consequences of plastic pollution in freshwater ecosystems are not just related to the environment and economy, they are also tied to social justice issues. The disproportionately affected communities are often those who live in poverty and cannot afford safe water or sanitation services. The lack of access to safe drinking water and sanitation disproportionately affects women and girls, who are often responsible for collecting water. Furthermore, the health impacts of plastic pollution can exacerbate existing social disparities, leading to a cycle of poverty and ill health. The issue of plastic pollution in freshwater ecosystems is a complex one, but it is not without solutions. Governments can regulate the production and disposal of plastic, and companies can be held responsible for the pollution caused by their products. Individuals can make changes to their own behavior, reducing the amount of single-use plastic they consume. Recycling and waste management initiatives can also be expanded and improved. The risks and consequences of plastic pollution in freshwater ecosystems are significant, but with the right actions, we can reduce the damage and prevent further harm. In conclusion, plastic contamination in freshwater ecosystems is a growing concern that requires immediate action. The consequences of our plastic use and disposal habits have far-reaching impacts on not only the environment but also our health and economy. We cannot continue to ignore this problem and must take collective responsibility to make a change. It is crucial to reduce plastic consumption, properly dispose of plastic waste, and implement policies that regulate the production and use of plastic. This can be achieved through educating and raising awareness among individuals, promoting the circular economy, and encouraging technological innovation for sustainable alternatives to plastic. By taking these steps, we not only protect the world's oceans are facing an ever-increasing threat from plastic pollution. Each year, millions of tons of plastic waste enters the oceans, harming marine life and posing significant risks to human health. In this powerful video, we explore the devastating impacts of plastic on our planet's precious marine ecosystems, highlighting the urgent need for action to address this global crisis. From entanglement and ingestion to the release of toxic chemicals, plastics have a devastating impact on marine wildlife, causing injuries, illnesses, and death. But the dangers of plastic pollution don't stop there. As plastics break down in the ocean, they release harmful chemicals that can accumulate in the food chain, posing serious health risks to humans who consume seafood. Through powerful footage of animals impacted by plastic pollution and interviews with leading experts, this video delivers a wake-up call to individuals, governments, and industries alike. We must all take responsibility for our plastic consumption and waste management practices if we want to protect our oceans and ensure a healthy future for all. Plastic in the oceans has emerged as one of the largest threats to marine life and human health. Every year, an estimated 8 million metric tons of plastic waste enters our oceans, and by 2050, it is predicted that there will be more plastic than fish in our waters. This plastic pollution is a direct result of our wasteful habits and lack of proper disposal methods. Plastic items such as straws, bottles, and bags, which are used for just a few minutes, take hundreds of years to decompose, putting our oceans and marine life at risk. The impact of plastic pollution is daunting. Over 800 species are affected by plastic debris, with over 100,000 marine animals dying every year due to ingestion or entanglement. The toxins and chemicals that plastics release into our oceans also pose a risk to human health, with microplastics found in seafood and drinking water worldwide. However, the good news is that we can all make a positive difference in reducing plastic pollution. By refusing single-use plastics, recycling, and properly disposing of plastic waste, we can help protect our oceans and ensure a healthy future for both marine life and humans. It's time to take action and work towards reducing our plastic footprint for the sake of our planet and future generations. In conclusion, it is clear that plastic pollution in our oceans poses significant threats to both marine life and human health. The accumulation of plastic waste in our oceans has devastating effects on marine ecosystems and endangers the survival of countless species. The ingestion of plastic by marine animals can lead to fatal consequences, disrupting their digestive systems and causing suffocation and starvation. Moreover, microplastics can also impact the food chain, potentially harming humans who consume seafood. Beyond environmental consequences, plastic pollution can also have significant human health impacts as it releases harmful chemicals into the ocean and the air we breathe. The solution to this problem requires collective efforts from individuals, businesses, and governments to reduce our reliance on plastic and develop more sustainable measures to dispose of it. We must work together to raise awareness about the dangers of plastic pollution, encourage innovation and research into alternative materials, and implement responsible waste management practices.
Every minute, 1 million plastic bottles are purchased worldwide. In 1 year alone, the amount of plastic waste produced globally could circle the Earth 4 times. The impact on our environment is staggering, yet we continue to use an excessive amount of plastic in our packaging and everyday life. It's time for a change. As consumers, we have the power to make a difference by choosing sustainable packaging options. But it's not just up to us. Manufacturers and corporations must also take responsibility and implement eco-friendly practices. In this video, we explore innovative solutions for managing plastic waste, from biodegradable packaging to circular economy initiatives. We'll hear from experts in the field and get a glimpse into the future of sustainable packaging. Together, we can reduce our impact on the environment and create a more responsible and sustainable future. It's time to take action and find lasting solutions to the plastic waste crisis. Plastic packaging has become an integral part of our lives, and it's hard to imagine a world without it. However, the rapid rise in plastic waste has become a major concern for the environment. According to reports, the world generates about 300 million tons of plastic waste annually, and this number is projected to double by 2030. The impact of this increase in plastic waste is visible in the oceans, landfills, and even in the food we eat. Shockingly, by 2050, the oceans are expected to contain more plastic than fish by weight, leading to a grave environmental crisis. The failure to manage plastic waste effectively has led to severe environmental damage, putting the planet's ecosystems and human health at risk. Plastic waste is harmful to marine life as animals can mistakenly consume it and suffer from severe internal injuries. Moreover, the toxic chemicals released from plastic waste threaten the safety of the food chain, leading to various diseases and health issues. The impact of plastic waste is not limited to the environment alone. The cost of managing plastic waste has increased considerably, with countries spending billions of dollars each year to collect, transport and dispose of plastic waste. The search for sustainable solutions to plastic packaging and waste management has become a global priority. The goal is to find environmentally friendly alternatives to plastic packaging while also improving waste collection and management practices. The adoption of sustainable practices has begun to bear fruit, leading to a reduction in plastic waste. For example, some countries have enacted strict legislation banning single-use plastics, which has led to a reduction in plastic waste by more than 50%. Other sustainable solutions include the implementation of deposit/refund schemes for all plastic products, increased recycling of plastic waste, and the use of biodegradable plastics. Biodegradable plastics are materials that break down into natural elements without causing harm to the environment. They are a sustainable alternative to traditional plastic, and their production has increased significantly over the years. According to reports, the global market for biodegradable plastics is expected to reach $9.27 billion by 2025, offering a ray of hope in the fight for sustainable plastic packaging. In conclusion, the plastic waste crisis is a complex issue that requires a concerted effort from all stakeholders. We cannot eliminate plastic in its entirety, but we can find sustainable solutions that offer a balance between environmental concerns and human needs. It is our responsibility as individuals and as a society to take action and adopt sustainable plastic packaging and waste management practices. Each one of us can make a difference by reducing plastic waste, recycling, and supporting sustainable initiatives. Let us all work together to create a better future for ourselves and the generations to come. In conclusion, plastic packaging and waste management are crucial issues that require immediate attention from individuals, businesses, and governments worldwide. We cannot continue to use plastic recklessly without thinking about the consequences for our environment. Finding sustainable solutions is not only necessary to protect our planet but also to secure the future of our next generations. As consumers, we have the power to make a difference by choosing products that use sustainable packaging and properly disposing of our waste. Additionally, businesses and governments must work together to implement sustainable practices and regulations to reduce the amount of plastic waste produced. Investing in research and development of alternative materials is also essential in finding long-term solutions. Let us all take responsibility for our actions and contribute towards a cleaner and greener planet. We are all in this together, and by
The trailer for a video script about plastic pollution and its effects on aquatic biodiversity would begin with a powerful and alarming statement about the extent and magnitude of the problem. The voiceover may express shock and disbelief at the amount of plastic waste that has found its way into the world's oceans and waterways, estimated to be around 8 million metric tons per year. The narrator would then delve into the impact plastic pollution has on aquatic life and biodiversity. The audience would be captivated by stunning visuals of marine life struggling to exist amidst the suffocating plastic waste, causing entanglement, poisoning and suffocation. This would serve to highlight the impact of plastic pollution on the food chain and ultimately, human life. The video would explore the unfortunate reality of plastic pollution's long-lasting and pervasive impact on the environment, posing a great threat to our planet. The trailer would end on a note of hope and motivation, emphasizing how each individual has a significant role in minimizing plastic pollution by making small changes in their daily lives. The viewers would be encouraged to take action, not only for the sake of the environment but for the survival of aquatic life and ultimately, the welfare of humanity. Plastic pollution is one of the major environmental issues our planet is facing today. Every day, millions of tons of plastics enter our oceans, rivers and lakes, causing serious harm to aquatic biodiversity. According to a report by the United Nations, around 8 million tons of plastic waste are dumped into the oceans every year. This is equivalent to a garbage truck of plastic being dumped into the ocean every minute. Such staggering statistics make it impossible to ignore the severity of the problem. The impact of plastic pollution on aquatic biodiversity is catastrophic. Plastic waste harms marine animals in several ways. For instance, many marine creatures mistake plastic for food and ingest it, leading to entanglement or choking. Plastic bits can also break down into smaller and smaller pieces called microplastics that can enter the food chain and cause damage to many marine species. A study estimates that there are around 25 trillion microplastic particles in the ocean, which is equal to the weight of around 270,000 tons of plastic pollution. The effects of plastic waste on aquatic ecosystems go beyond harming marine animals. Plastic leaches harmful chemicals as it breaks down in the ocean, leading to increased toxicity of seawater. According to a study, plastic debris increases the risk of extinction for marine species by 20 times. The impact of plastic pollution on fisheries and marine tourism is also significant. In 2018, it was estimated that the fishing industry lost around $62 million due to the impact of plastic pollution. The negative impacts of plastic waste on our oceans are also reflected in human health. Seafood contaminated with plastic microfibers is often consumed by humans, posing serious health risks. A study found that plastics in seafood are toxic and can affect human hormones, leading to health problems such as obesity, diabetes, and hormone-related cancers. If we do not take action immediately, the impact of plastic pollution on aquatic biodiversity will only worsen. It is essential to use sustainable materials, reduce, reuse and recycle plastic products, and promote safe plastic disposal. Governments and businesses must take action by implementing regulations, policies, and strategies to address plastic pollution and encourage sustainable business practices. Individuals can also take small yet significant steps like carrying reusable shopping bags, water bottles, and coffee mugs. In conclusion, plastic pollution is a significant threat to aquatic biodiversity, and its effects are far-reaching. The statistics speak for themselves, and we must take action to address the problem. We need to embrace sustainable practices that promote environmental protection and support the preservation of aquatic ecosystems. As responsible global citizens, we must do everything we can to protect our planet and preserve it for generations to come. In conclusion, plastic pollution is a severe threat to aquatic biodiversity. It affects marine animals, birds, and even humans who indirectly consume microplastics. The issue requires an integrated approach that not only involves appropriate waste management but also encourages individual responsibility. Governments can improve their policies and encourage their implementation by working in collaboration with the community, industries, and environmental organizations. Education and awareness campaigns can also help prevent plastic waste from reaching the ocean. We must take steps to reduce our plastic consumption, reuse, and recycle materials, and dispose of them properly. This action will not only help reduce plastic pollution in the ocean but will also reduce greenhouse gas emissions, protect our oceans, and preserve biodiversity for generations to come. We need to
Plastic pollution has become a global catastrophe, causing catastrophic effects on our planet's wildlife habitats. Every year, millions of tons of plastic debris find their way into our oceans, rivers, and lakes, creating devastating consequences for the ecosystems that rely on them. These plastic materials are often mistaken for food by marine life, leading to suffocation, entanglement, or starvation. This disruption of the food chain can lead to the decline of entire species, including marine mammals, birds, and reptiles. As the plastic problem worsens, it's critical to raise awareness of the consequences of our actions. In this video, we'll explore the harsh realities of plastic pollution and its impact on the habitats and wildlife that depend on our planet's natural resources. We'll examine the latest research and data about plastic pollution and its impacts, including new case studies that will shock and astound you. Our goal is to provide a comprehensive understanding of the issue and inspire viewers to take action. We'll also explore ways individuals, communities, and governments can work together to mitigate the negative effects of plastic pollution and restore the habitats we have so carelessly destroyed.
Join us on this journey to understand the devastating effects of plastic pollution and the importance of preserving our wildlife habitats. Plastic pollution has become a major environmental issue of our time. Every year, millions of tons of plastic waste end up in the world's oceans. Statistics show that around 8 million tons of plastic waste enter the ocean every year, which is equivalent to dumping a garbage truck full of plastic into the ocean every minute. This staggering amount of plastic waste is having a devastating impact on marine wildlife. Plastic waste is disrupting wildlife habitats and endangering the lives of many marine animals. For instance, sea turtles have mistaken plastic bags for jellyfish, which they usually feed on, leading to suffocation. According to research, around 100,000 marine animals die every year from plastic pollution, including dolphins, whales, birds, and turtles. This does not account for the many small marine animals that are also impacted. In addition to the direct harm caused to wildlife, plastic pollution is also affecting the food chain. Microplastics, which are tiny particles less than 5 millimeters in size, have been found in fish, shellfish, and other marine organisms, which are then consumed by humans. So, consuming seafood can have serious health implications. It is important to note that plastic pollution is not just an issue for marine life. Land animals and birds are also at risk of consuming plastic waste, which can lead to suffocation, digestive problems, and death. Moreover, plastic debris that litters beaches, nature reserves, and parks can significantly disrupt land habitats and ecosystems. We all have a role to play in addressing plastic pollution. Simple actions like reducing our use of plastic straws, bags, and bottles can go a long way in reducing plastic waste. Recycling is also a vital way to ensure that plastic waste is properly disposed of and not discarded in the environment. By taking responsibility for our plastic waste and challenging companies and governments to do the same, we can all contribute to a cleaner, healthier planet. In conclusion, plastic pollution is a major threat to the natural world and is disrupting habitats that are essential for the survival of many species. The statistics mentioned above clearly illustrate the severity of the issue and the need for action. By taking collective action, we can reduce plastic pollution and ensure that wildlife habitats are protected for generations to come. In conclusion, plastic pollution is one of the direst environmental problems our planet faces today. The massive amounts of plastic waste generated by humans every day have disrupted the delicate balance of our ecosystems and destroyed numerous wildlife habitats. We need to take action to reduce our plastic consumption and work towards sustainable alternatives. Using biodegradable materials, recycling, and proper waste disposal can go a long way in mitigating this problem. Furthermore, we need to hold industries and governments accountable for their role in exacerbating the plastic pollution crisis. We should put pressure on them to regulate the production and disposal of plastics. Lastly, we should also educate ourselves and others about the harmful effects of plastic pollution and work towards changing the way we think about and use plastic. Protecting our wildlife habitats should be a priority, and it is up to
Plastic pollution is one of the most pressing environmental issues of our time, affecting both aquatic and terrestrial ecosystems. The consequences of our reliance on single-use plastics are dire, threatening wildlife, biodiversity and our own health. From the Great Pacific Garbage Patch to plastic-strewn beaches, the scale of the plastic pollution problem is staggering. This documentary exposes the shocking impact of plastic pollution on our planet. The film delves into the ways in which plastic pollution enters the food chain, and how microplastics have been found in fish, shellfish and other seafood. The health risks associated with consuming contaminated marine life are significant, with long-term health complications such as cancer, hormonal disorders and developmental problems. The film also highlights how plastic pollution adversely affects marine ecosystems, with plastic debris and microplastics swallowing up entire coastlines and coral reefs. The release of toxic chemicals from plastics breaks down the natural balance of the ecosystems and threatens the survival of marine species. This documentary provides an urgent call to action, offering solutions to the plastic pollution crisis. With the voices of both experts and activists, it highlights the changes we can all make to reduce our plastic footprint and preserve the planet for future generations. Plastic pollution is a major environmental concern globally, particularly in our oceans, where it is causing significant harm to marine life and ecosystems. The statistics surrounding plastic pollution are staggering. It is estimated that by 2050, there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish. Currently, around 8 million tons of plastic waste enter the ocean each year, killing millions of marine animals such as seabirds, turtles, and whales annually. Plastic waste also has far-reaching effects on human health. When plastic debris enters the ocean, it can break down into microplastics, tiny pieces smaller than 5 millimeters. Microplastics are ingested by marine life, entering the food chain, which ultimately impacts human populations. Studies show that humans consume an average of a credit card's worth of plastic each week. The harmful chemicals found in plastics such as bisphenol A, BPA, and phthalates, have been linked to cancer, birth defects, and reproductive issues. Furthermore, plastic pollution has devastating economic impacts. It is estimated that the cost of plastic pollution on the world economy annually could reach $13 billion. Plastic pollution impacts tourism, with beaches and waterways littered with rubbish, turning away visitors who otherwise would contribute to local economies. Fishing industries are also impacted as fish stocks are decimated by plastic pollution. As plastic breaks down in the ocean, it also releases greenhouse gases contributing to global climate change. One of the most concerning types of plastic waste is single-use plastics. These plastics are used once and then discarded, such as plastic straws, bags, and water bottles. In the United States alone, it is estimated that over 500 million plastic straws are used daily. Single-use plastics are particularly problematic as they have a short lifespan, often less than 15 minutes, and then take hundreds of years to decompose. A global effort is needed to reduce plastic pollution. Governments, businesses and individuals need to take action to reduce plastic use, increase recycling efforts and encourage the use of sustainable alternatives. The European Union has taken a stand with a ban on single-use plastics across member countries from 2021. Other organizations such as Greenpeace, Surfrider Foundation, and Plastic Oceans are actively raising awareness, lobbying governments and encouraging corporations to reduce plastic waste. Additionally, community activism plays a significant role in plastic pollution reductions. However, everyone can make a difference. Small changes like swapping plastic straws with reusable alternatives, using reusable water bottles and bags, and supporting sustainable manufacturers go a long way in reducing plastic pollution. Awareness to the public through documentaries and advocacy ads are also effective to educate people. In conclusion, plastic pollution is a growing environmental, health, and economic crisis. The statistics surrounding plastics can sound overwhelming and daunting. But, with collective efforts and conscious lifestyle changes, we can all help reduce plastic waste and protect our planet. By doing so, we can guarantee an environmentally sustainable future for ourselves and the generations to come. In conclusion, plastic pollution has become a major environmental issue with severe impacts on marine life, human health, and the broader ecosystem. Every year, millions of tons of plastic waste end up in our oceans and landfills, causing irreversible damage and posing serious threats to global biodiversity. Beyond environmental impacts, plastic pollution has been linked to numerous health concerns, including hormonal disruptions, developmental delays, and increased risk of certain cancers. However, the good news is that we can all take action to reduce plastic pollution by making small yet impactful changes in our daily lives.
The troubling crisis of plastic waste and its impact on the environment goes far beyond the oceans and landfills. It infiltrates soil and agricultural systems and threatens the very sustainability of our food sources. Plastics take hundreds of years to break down, and as they do, they release chemicals and toxins that migrate into the soil and contaminate crops. In this video, We delve into the heart of this environmental issue by examining the effects of plastic waste on soil and agriculture. We showcase the devastating implications of soil contamination on plant growth, food quality, and public health. From there, we explore the methodologies in place to address this growing problem, such as promoting sustainable farming practices and employing waste management solutions to reduce plastic pollution. The big question is, how can we prevent plastic waste from threatening our food security, and what can we do to ensure a healthier future for our planet? Stay tuned as we investigate the science and practical implications behind plastic waste and its impact on soil quality and agricultural systems in this must-see video. Plastic waste has become a critical issue for our environment, and its impact is not limited to oceans and landfills. The alarming amount of plastic waste accumulation is increasingly affecting soil quality and agricultural systems globally. According to the World Health Organization, WHO, approximately 267 million tons of plastic waste are generated every year worldwide. Shockingly, only 9% of this plastic waste is recycled, with most of it accumulating in landfills and the natural environment. Over time, the plastic waste releases toxic chemicals that pose a severe threat to human health and the environment. Agricultural systems are not immune to the harms of plastic waste either. The negative impacts of plastic waste on soil quality and agricultural systems are numerous. The relentless buildup of plastics in agricultural fields leads to soil degradation and nutrient depletion. Plastic litter also creates shadows that cause imbalance in vegetation, affecting photosynthesis and ultimately hampering crop growth. Furthermore, the chemicals present in plastic materials leach into the soil, changing its chemical composition and inhibiting water penetration. This ultimately results in fewer nutrition-supplying microorganisms in the soil, as well as negatively affecting the overall crop quality. The consequences of lower quality crops can lead to significant financial losses for farmers and impact the quality and quantity of the food supply chain. According to the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, FAO, the agricultural sector is responsible for global food production. With plastic waste accumulation directly hampering this critical sector, it is essential to address this issue holistically. FAO also reports that agricultural systems contribute to approximately 23% of greenhouse gas emissions, leading to more prolonged negative environmental implications than just soil degradation. The plastic waste remaining in the soil obstructs the root systems of plants, leading to decreased CO2 absorption and a reduction in organic matter production. With soil depletion negatively impacting all forms of agriculture, from the smallest farms to the largest corporate agricultural systems, we must make steps towards addressing the alarming amount of plastic waste. To address this issue, we must consider several measures. Reducing, reusing, and recycling our plastic waste is a great place to start. The European Environmental Agency reports that recycling 1 ton of plastic waste saves approximately 1,000 to 2,000 gallons of oil, equating to a decrease in greenhouse gas emissions. Plastic manufacturers must take more accountability in ensuring that their production and disposal methods are sustainable, rather than solely relying on consumer responsibility. Governments must adopt and enforce stringent laws that encourage plastic waste management, which includes environmental campaigns and garbage collection initiatives. Several fashion and manufacturing companies have already pledged to reduce plastic pollution in the ocean by reducing plastic use in their products. This means sustainability has become more than a marketing buzzword, and corporations holding themselves accountable for the impact they have on the environment are becoming a new norm. Collaborative initiatives exploring a circular economy approach needs to be adopted to reduce the amount of waste sent to landfills and help promote waste reduction through recycling. All of us have to make concerted efforts to make our planet a healthier and safer place. In conclusion, it is critical to highlight the adverse impacts of plastic waste on soil quality and agricultural systems. Plastic waste accumulation in agricultural soil depletes the quality and influences the overall health of crops and soil microbes. We cannot ignore the far-reaching effects or our planet turning into one giant landfill. Attending to the severity of this issue and adopting sustainable practices in the use of plastic waste is the way forward. Collective action is necessary, but we can each play our part in reducing the overall footprint of the plastic. With a concerted effort from all parties, we can make our planet healthier and more sustainable for generations to come. In conclusion, it is crucial for individuals and industries alike to take responsibility for the impact of plastic waste on soil quality and agricultural systems. Governments must enforce strong regulations and incentives for waste reduction and recycling initiatives. Education and awareness campaigns can also help develop a culture of sustainability and reduce plastic use. Farmers can implement sustainable farming practices, such as reducing plastic mulch on agricultural fields. Soil quality monitoring systems can be developed to ensure the reduction of plastic waste in agricultural soils. Researchers and innovators must continue to search for safe and effective ways to recycle and manage plastic waste. By taking collective action, we can protect our agricultural systems.
As our modern world continues to produce more plastic waste, our ecosystems suffer dire consequences. Every year, an estimated 8 million metric tons of plastic waste are dumped into the ocean, creating massive garbage patches that harm marine life and pollute the water. From entangled sea turtles and strangled seabirds to contaminated fish and disrupted food chains, plastic waste is wreaking havoc on the natural world. Even on land, plastic waste poses a threat to both wildlife and humans, with microplastics entering the food chain and potentially causing health problems. Additionally, plastic waste doesn't biodegrade and can remain in the environment for hundreds of years, leading to long-term ecological damage. It's time for us to take action to protect our ecosystems and reduce our reliance on single-use plastics. From recycling to reducing waste and supporting environmentally friendly practices, there are steps we can take to make a positive impact on the world around us. Together, we can make a difference and help preserve the natural beauty of our planet for generations to come. Every year, an estimated 8 million tons of plastic waste ends up in our oceans. That's equivalent to dumping a garbage truck full of plastic into the ocean every minute. As a result, countless marine animals and birds are becoming entangled in plastic debris or mistaking it for food, leading to injury, suffocation, and even death. But the ecological consequences of plastic waste on ecosystems goes much further than this. Plastic debris ultimately makes its way to the bottom of the ocean, where it disrupts the natural balance of marine ecosystems. Phytoplankton, tiny organisms at the base of the food chain, are often covered in plastic, rendering them toxic and ultimately leading to the death of marine life that rely on them for sustenance. Furthermore, the chemicals released as plastics degrade can affect water quality, impacting the health and well-being of all living organisms in aquatic environments. It's time for all of us to take action and reduce our plastic consumption to prevent further damage to our precious ecosystems. As we've seen throughout this video, the consequences of plastic waste on our ecosystems are severe, far-reaching, and potentially irreversible. From the smallest organisms to the largest predators, every living creature is affected by plastic pollution in some way. We link our fate to everything around us, and so the impacts of plastic pollution will inevitably come back to us. The time for action is now, and we cannot afford to wait any longer. Individuals, businesses, governments, and international organizations must all step up and take responsibility for reducing and ultimately eliminating plastic waste. We must prioritize sustainable and eco-friendly practices, from using reusable containers to supporting environmentally conscious policies.
The trailer for this video script opens with a shocking image of a polluted ocean and a voiceover explaining the severity of the issue. The video dives into the harmful effects that microplastic ingestion can have on the human body. With the use of illustrations, the audience is shown how microplastics are consumed through different sources such as contaminated seafood, bottled water, and even sea salt. The video then highlights the dangerous health outcomes that can result from ingesting these tiny plastic particles. The audience is shown how microplastics can enter the bloodstream and organs, leading to inflammation and other serious illnesses. The tone of the video is one of urgency as it presents scientific studies that have found a correlation between microplastic ingestion and an increased risk of cancer, hormonal imbalances, and immune system dysfunction. The video also explains how once microplastics enter the body, they are almost impossible to remove, causing long-lasting harm. The trailer ends with a call to action, urging viewers to take steps to reduce their plastic consumption and urging policymakers to enact laws that will protect our health and the environment from the dangers of microplastic pollution. Microplastics are tiny fragments of plastic that measure less than 5 mm in length. These fragments are either intentionally manufactured or are the result of plastic disintegration, making them ubiquitous in natural environments, including our oceans, beaches, and even our tap water. This exposure can lead to their ingestion by marine life, which consequently introduces the possibility of them being ingested by humans. Studies have shown that microplastics have the potential to cause significant adverse health effects. When ingested, microplastics can bind to harmful chemicals and pollutants in the environment and seep into the tissues of marine organisms. This toxicity can then be passed along the food chain and potentially end up on our plates. Moreover, microplastics have been detected in a vast majority of tap water samples across the globe, indicating our exposure to these materials is not just limited to seafood consumption. This issue is further compounded by the sheer amount of microplastics we are exposed to daily, with an average person consuming around 5 grams of plastic every week, the equivalent of a credit card. The long-term effects of microplastic ingestion are still being studied. However, research has shown that these fragments can accumulate in vital organs such as the liver and kidneys, impairing their normal function. Additionally, the ingestion of microplastics has been linked to inflammation and is thought to play a role in the development of chronic illnesses such as cancer, autoimmune disease, and heart disease. Women and children are particularly vulnerable to the effects of microplastic ingestion, as women may pass on these particles to their fetuses during pregnancy, and children are more susceptible to health effects since they have an underdeveloped immune system. While countries have recognized the gravity of the situation and have taken various steps to reduce plastic production, much more needs to be done. It is crucial to increase awareness of the harmful effects of microplastics, and we all must make an effort to minimize our use of single-use plastic products. Additionally, businesses should be held accountable for their role in contributing to plastic pollution, and governments must enforce legislation to reduce plastic production and encourage alternative sustainable materials. In conclusion, microplastic ingestion is a pressing public health concern, contributing to the deterioration of our natural environments and our own health. The statistics on the effects of microplastics on human health is alarming, and the continued use of plastic products is unsustainable. It is imperative that we take action to mitigate this issue and protect the well-being of ourselves and future generations. In conclusion, the ingestion of microplastics can have severe health impacts on humans. These tiny particles can enter our bodies through various sources such as seafood, tap water, and even bottled water. The accumulation of microplastics in our bodies can affect our immune system, reproductive system, and endocrine system, as well as cause damage to our organs. Pregnant women and children are also at higher risk of negative health impacts due to their vulnerability to toxins. Although the long-term effects of microplastics on human health are still uncertain, it is clear that it is a growing issue that requires immediate action. We must take responsibility for our plastic waste and strive to reduce our usage. Governments and industries must take swift action to limit plastic production, promote better waste management practices, and enforce strict regulations on plastic pollution. We must also spread awareness and educate people on the dangers of microplastics to encourage a shift toward.
The world is facing an unseen killer. Microplastics are everywhere, clogging up our oceans, rivers, and even our air. What's worse, they are now making their way into our food chain, carriers of toxins and chemicals that are potentially harmful to both humans and animals. Our video takes an in-depth look at the rising concern of microplastic pollution and its potential impact on human health. Experts are concerned that we are now consuming microplastics in our food and water, potentially leading to a range of health problems, including infertility, immune system problems, and cancer. Scientists have been studying the effects of microplastics on human health, and the results are concerning. Join us on our journey to uncover the truth about microplastic pollution and its impact on our health. We will explore the toxicological effects of microplastics and how we can reduce this harmful pollution. We will provide you with valuable insights and tips that can help you protect yourself from the devastating effects of this form of pollution. With our engaging video, we aim to raise awareness and inspire collective action to address this unfolding crisis. Microplastics are tiny plastic particles that measure less than 5 millimeters in size and are ubiquitous in the aquatic environment. According to statistics, there are approximately 5 trillion plastic particles floating in all oceans, and the number is set to increase by 10 times by 2025. With the rise of plastic production and usage, the amount of microplastics in the environment is increasing exponentially. What's alarming about microplastics is that they are found in the food chain, and thus eventually end up in human bodies. It is estimated that over 90% of the global population may be exposed to microplastics through water, food, and air. In recent years, scientists have been investigating the toxicological effects of microplastics on human health. Research has shown that microplastics can cause a range of health issues, including inflammation, oxidative stress, and even cancer. Studies have found that microplastics can damage the lining of the gut, leading to a weakened immune system and an increased susceptibility to infections. Additionally, microplastics have been associated with impaired neurological function, low birth weight, and hormonal imbalance. The toxicological effects of microplastics are not limited to humans only but also have severe impacts on aquatic life. Small marine animals such as zooplankton and fish consume microplastics, which can lead to digestive blockages, impaired growth, and reproductive failure. The effects of microplastics are difficult to measure, and the impact on the long-term exposure of microplastics on human health is still unknown. However, the need to urgently address the issue cannot be stressed enough. It is essential to regulate plastic production and encourage the use of sustainable alternatives to plastic. The fight against plastic pollution should be a collective effort towards achieving a cleaner and healthier environment. With the growing awareness of the severe impact of microplastics on human health, there is a strong need for further research and policy action. In conclusion, it is imperative to recognize and take immediate action on the harmful impact of microplastics on human health to safeguard the well-being of the current and future generations. In conclusion, the issue of microplastics and its effect on human health is a global concern that requires immediate attention. While studies have shown that microplastics can cause adverse health effects on marine animals, research on human health effects is still limited, and therefore, further research is needed to understand the full impact of microplastics on human health. Nevertheless, there are already several steps that individuals and communities can take to reduce exposure to microplastics. This includes recycling, reducing plastic usage, and proper disposal of plastic waste.
Microplastics are tiny fragments of plastic, smaller than 5 millimeters in size, that are polluting our oceans, rivers, and lakes at an alarming rate. These small particles are being ingested by fish and other marine organisms, which in turn are being consumed by humans, resulting in the potential for microplastic contamination in the food chain. With no clear regulations in place, researchers have been emphasizing on studying the risk of human exposure to microplastics in food and their potential health effects. Our upcoming video will delve into the scientific research and data that is currently available on the topic. Experts in the field will provide insights on the sources of microplastic contamination, including the use of plastic packaging, textiles, and single-use products. The video will explore different methods currently being used to study the presence of microplastics in food and beverages, such as spectroscopy and electron microscopy. It will also examine the potential health risks associated with consuming these small particles, such as inflammation, oxidative stress, and other adverse effects on human health. Moreover, the video will highlight the possible measures that can be taken to reduce our exposure to microplastics in our daily lives, from plastic use reduction strategies to reusing and recycling. It will aim to create awareness about the importance of reducing plastic consumption and minimizing our carbon footprint in order to protect the integrity of our food and ultimately, our health. Microplastics, tiny plastic particles less than 5 millimeters in size, have been found in various parts of the food chain, from the water we drink to the seafood we consume. The statistics are staggering, with a recent study estimating that humans consume approximately 50,000 microplastic particles each year through food and drink alone. This equates to consuming a credit card's worth of microplastics every week. The potential health risks of ingesting microplastics are still largely unknown, but studies have shown that these tiny particles can cause inflammation, damage to organs, and an increased risk of certain diseases. Additionally, microplastics have been found to absorb and carry harmful chemicals and toxins, which could further increase health risks. The extent of human exposure to microplastics is still being studied, but it is clear that urgent action is needed to address this emerging issue. We must work towards reducing plastic pollution and finding sustainable alternatives to single-use plastics to protect our health and the health of our planet. In conclusion, the presence of microplastics in the food chain is a growing concern and has the potential to impact human health. While studies are still underway to fully understand the extent of human exposure and health risks, it's important for individuals to take steps to reduce their plastic consumption and properly dispose of waste. Governments and industries also have a role to play in reducing the production and release of microplastics into the environment. This includes implementing policies and regulations to limit the use of single-use plastics, promoting sustainable packaging alternatives, and investing in innovative waste management solutions. By working together to address this pressing issue, we can help protect our health and the health.
Plastic debris is one of the biggest environmental problems facing our planet today. Every year, millions of tons of plastic waste end up in our oceans and wash up on our coasts, causing significant damage to marine life and the environment. This problem has reached a crisis point, and action needs to be taken now to prevent the situation from getting worse. In this video, we explore the impact that plastic debris has on our coastal and marine environments. We will delve into the science behind this issue, looking at how plastic breaks down in our oceans and the impact this has on marine wildlife. We will showcase some of the most significant environmental impacts that plastic debris has on our beaches and other coastal areas, from the pollution of wildlife to the harm it causes to local economies. We will also hear from experts in the field who are working tirelessly to address this issue, including marine biologists, environmental scientists, and community activists. Additionally, we will provide practical advice and solutions for individuals and businesses, outlining ways that we can all work together to reduce plastic waste and make a difference for the environment. Join us as we explore this critical issue and discover the steps we can take to protect our oceans and coasts from the damaging effects of plastic debris. Plastic debris has become one of the biggest threats to coastal and marine environments. In fact, according to recent statistics, there are over 5 trillion pieces of plastic in the world's oceans, with an estimated 8 million tons of plastic entering the water each year. That's equivalent to dumping a garbage truck full of plastic into the ocean every minute. It's not just the amount of plastic that's concerning, but also the impact it's having on marine animals. A staggering 700 species of marine animals, including birds, fish, and sea turtles, are known to have been affected by plastic debris. And the consequences can be drastic. For instance, ingesting plastic can cause internal injuries, blockages, and even death for marine animals. Furthermore, those plastics don't break down easily, and much of the plastic in the ocean today is expected to remain there for hundreds of years more. The pollution also affects humans. Microplastics are found in swimming fish, which is a source of protein for humans, and it is also considered to enter the food chain. Urgent action is required to turn the tide on this crisis, and everyone can play a part by reducing their use of single-use plastics, recycling what they can, and responsibly disposing of waste. It's time to wake up to the reality of plastic debris and its impact on our oceans before it's too late. In conclusion, it is clear that plastic debris has a devastating impact on coastal and marine environments. It harms animals, hinders natural processes, damages ecosystems, and even affects the human population that relies on these resources. Though it is impossible to eliminate plastic entirely from our lives, we can take steps to reduce our plastic footprint and make a difference. Simple practices like proper disposal, recycling, and choosing reusable alternatives can significantly reduce plastic waste.
Our world is facing a massive crisis with plastic pollution in urban environments. From plastic bags to bottles and straws, the amount of plastic waste produced by cities is staggering. This pollution is having a significant impact on our environment, damaging ecosystems and harming animal populations. The problem is only getting worse as urbanization continues to increase, and more people are relying on disposable plastics in their daily lives. But there is hope. Many cities are taking action to mitigate the impact of plastic pollution by implementing innovative strategies and solutions. We will explore the most effective mitigation strategies in this video, including recycling and waste reduction programs, education and awareness campaigns, and innovative technology solutions that are reducing the amount of plastic waste produced by urban environments. We will also take a closer look at the underlying causes of plastic pollution and explore ways to combat this problem at its source. Join us for a fascinating exploration of the impacts of plastic pollution in urban environments and the strategies that are being used to mitigate its effects. Plastic pollution in urban environments is a rapidly growing concern for our planet. It is estimated that over 8 million metric tons of plastic waste enter oceans each year, with 80 coming from land-based sources, making urban areas a critical focus for mitigation strategies. In fact, a study found that 100 of marine turtle species have ingested plastic, and by 2050, there could be more plastic in the ocean than fish. The impact of plastic pollution goes far beyond just marine life. It has significant social, economic, and environmental implications. But what are the main causes of plastic pollution in urban areas? Typically, it's due to poor waste management and littering practices. Shockingly, only 9% of plastic waste is ever recycled globally, and it's estimated that 50% of plastic waste in the oceans comes from just 5 countries, all of which are in urbanized areas. The indiscriminate dumping of plastic in landfill sites and waterways can have severe consequences on human health, the economy, and the environment. To mitigate the impact of plastic pollution in urban areas, several strategies can be implemented. One popular approach is to increase public awareness and engagement through education and community outreach activities. Citywide campaigns, such as Plastic Free July, are designed to galvanize communities and raise awareness about the dangers of single-use plastic. Furthermore, the use of incentives and penalties can drive individuals and businesses to act more responsibly when it comes to proper waste disposal. Policy interventions can also be effective in tackling the issue of plastic pollution. Many cities are now implementing plastic taxes or outright bans on single-use plastics, leading to a reduction in plastic waste and promoting environmentally sustainable products. Furthermore, investment in new technologies such as waste separation and recycling plants can help cities to manage their waste sustainably, reducing the amount of plastic that enters the environment. In conclusion, plastic pollution in urban areas is a pressing issue that requires immediate action. The impact of plastic waste on our ecosystem, wildlife, and climate is devastating, and it is our collective responsibility to reduce and ultimately eliminate it. Through strategic planning, policy interventions, and public engagement, we can mitigate the impact of plastic pollution and create a healthier planet for future generations. In conclusion, it is evident that plastic pollution in urban environments has far-reaching and detrimental impacts on the environment, human health, and the economy. However, there are various mitigation strategies that can be employed to deal with this issue. Some of the approaches include reducing the production of plastics and promoting the use of reusable bags, bottles, and containers. Additionally, recycling and proper disposal of plastics can help minimize their impact on the environment. However, it is important to note that tackling plastic pollution requires a concerted effort from all stakeholders, including governments, organizations, and individuals. Everyone has a part to play in reducing the amount of plastic waste produced and ensuring that it is correctly disposed of. By taking these measures, we can minimize the negative impacts of plastic pollution on our environment and ensure sustainable development for future generations. Ultimately, it is clear that